So many shows got delayed this season, I delayed the start of this video. Alright, it's that time of the year! Winter Roundup time! As you can see, I've donned a new bucket hat. New year, new bucket hat. We're gonna pretend all of the shows that got delayed they finished. They're done. Alright? The delays didn't happen. Alright, where every show that got delayed is still getting covered in this roundup, goddammit. So, I don't know, fasten your seatbelts. I'm about to hit the gas, motherfucker. I am actually pretty sure that this season has the most shows out of any roundup I've done so far, so buckle up. Alright, let's start with Nier Automata. So, I never played Nier Automata, but as far as I can tell, it seems like a pretty straightforward, can androids really have human feelings, and can androids and humans really coexist? That kind of thing. I do feel like I did the anime a disservice by not playing the game beforehand, but as far as the anime project itself goes, the visuals, the music, even the animation itself, and like the battle scenes, and just all the stuff that went into the project itself, like as an anime, was phenomenal. The voice acting, phenomenal. I'm assuming these are the same voices from the game, but I don't know that. All that stuff was phenomenal. I just don't know anything about the original game, and I had a hard time following the plot. And we all know how I feel about plots of anime based on video games. Like, just from what I could tell, it was just a lot of 2B and 9S going around and like interviewing people, just like, hello, how is your experience living alongside androids and all these other wacky robots? My friends and I live in extreme poverty and life sucks. Wow, how about you, Mr. Robot? My wife and children disappeared last week and haven't come back, but still, I find a way to be happy. Wow, that's amazing, but I sure don't care. It's like a princess of a kingdom disguising herself and like going around and like asking people like, what's your experience living? It's like that. It's like trying to blend in with the common folk, and the 2B and 9S are like fucking high-end androids, and they're just mingling with the common folk, doing missions sometimes, but also sometimes playing in the water. It's weird. It doesn't really seem like there's any common thread between it all until they start going after A2, but that didn't get resolved because it got delayed, so we're just gonna pretend it got resolved. The story is fine. Like, I don't know how it gets resolved, but the story, I'm sure it's fine, especially if you play the game. It probably makes a whole lot more sense. But if you didn't play the game first. I don't know what to tell you. It didn't really make any sense to me. But like I said, the anime itself was cool, so I'm sure if you played the game, it was you got a nice kick out of it. But it didn't seem like anything special. Like, it didn't really go above and beyond. It was just like, yeah, the anime project itself was nice, and like all the stuff that went into making it was great. But like it didn't really seem like it elevated the experience of the original game. So it's like, whatever. It's cool. It's there, I guess. Alright, let's talk about the magical revolution of the reincarnated princess and the genius young lady. Whew. This one admittedly went above and beyond my expectations. You want to talk about above and beyond? This one went above and beyond my expectations. I thought it was just kind of like two chicks doing magic and being gay, but it was a lot more than that, and it actually impressed me. It's got a nice sense of humor right from the get-go. I think Anis is delightful character, and the way that both she and Yuffie evolve as characters, and we see more of them, and like as the plot unfolds and how they deal with it all, like, it's all good stuff, right? Because that final I'm about to spoil shit, by the way. That final conflict where it's like Anis has like basically has to be queen or like run the fuck away, and then Yuffie's like, wait, I'll form a spirit contract and I'll be a queen instead of you, but that means I have immortality and whatnot. That was a really well done emotional conflict, and it made sense because the two of them throughout the 12 episodes, they were just like, hey, I just want you to be happy. And like Yuffie, especially Yuffie, I think Yuffie really impressed me because I thought she was boring at first, but like she had seen the impact that Anis and her like not magic had on the people around her, like her charisma and her joy in working on the magic, the not magic, because she can't use magic. Like the joy, the effect that she had on the people around her, like she noticed that stuff, and like she was willing to sacrifice her own fear, like happiness, her own like life, but she didn't die, but like you get what I mean. She was willing to sacrifice that shit to make sure Anis could pursue her dream properly, because she wouldn't be able to keep doing new magic stuff. She wouldn't be able to keep doing innovative magic stuff if she was the queen, because she would be tied the fuck down. That was good. I really like that. And the stuff about Anis's brothers, whatever, kind of confused me. But like, overall, I didn't think it was that bad, right? Like, I thought it was pretty solid. Like, I like the idea of a girl who can't use magic, especially like a noble, royal girl who can't use magic in a world where magic is so highly valued, trying to use her own style of magic, or like create her own way in this world. It's very much like, I was gonna say something else, but I just ended up on Black Clover. It is sort of like Black Clover, though. It's the same idea, right? Like, use something that people don't really know about, or like people might think is weird, to like make your way in the world and make your dreams come true, essentially. Like, and that's a good message. So, and I don't really care much for the supporting cast or anything like that. They didn't really impress me. It was Anis and Yuffie that really pushed it home for me. It was a solid show for sure. Like, especially the first half felt disjointed. It didn't really make any sense to me. Like, it just kind of was all over the place, and like Anis fought a dragon. And what even happened with the thing about she got cursed by a dragon that came back like twice, and like maybe it helped her gain some kind of magic? It doesn't. I'm all over the place, but you get what this show is all over the place. Anyway, it doesn't really seem like there's a connecting thread along with the first half, but overall, I enjoyed it. I wish the romance was done a little better. And we don't even learn that Anis is actually reincarnated until like fucking literally the end, episode 12. Other than that, though, it was pretty solid. Next up, Tomo-chan is a girl. I like this one. I really did. There's a few rom-coms this season that I thought I was gonna hate and actually ended up liking, and this is probably in the top spot of that. Like, out of all of them, I think this is my favorite. Like, this is just so cute. Like, the cast is nice and small. Tomo's like struggle with June, and June's struggle with Tomo, it feels legit. It's not overdone. Like, it's not over dramatic at all. It feels like it could be real. Like, it's good stuff. And like, I absolutely love the way, the day I'm recording this, it just ended. So the final episode just came out, and I love the way it ended. It was so sweet, so nice. It's just, Tomo and June are delightful protagonists. Like, it's a different like style of rom-com. Like, I've seen even on the roundups, I've covered plenty of anime rom-coms, and I think just this one is different enough, and the way it tackles the problems that the characters present is good. Like, it just makes sense. It doesn't really feel like it's ever dawdling too much, and even the supporting cast of Misuzu and Carol are fucking cute as hell. I love them, and like, even it puts a little character development into both of them, Misuzu and Carol. Like, they actually have their own problems which they have to overcome, which even tie into June and Tomo's romance. Like, it's just solid. Like, everything it does makes sense, and you can't say that about a lot of anime rom-coms. It's just, even if it's only a little bit, it does feel like most scenes contribute something to at least our understanding of Tomo and June's relationship. Even Tomo and her friends, Misuzu and Carol's relationship. Like, it all feels like it culminates, right, to that very end scene. Like, with all, like, the final bit where June is, like, fighting the dad, and then whatever. Like, you get it. It's like, it's not bad at all. I really liked it, in fact. As far as anime rom-coms go, like, seasonal stuff, it resolved, like, especially because it's one season, right? Like, it started and then resolved in one season, 13 episodes. Done, right? I really like this one. It's nice. It doesn't waste any time. It's just going. It's doing stuff all the time. So, and that is very much reflective of both Tomo and June's personalities and nature. So, good stuff. Very good. Thank you, Tomo-chan as a girl, for being a good seasonal anime rom-com. Like, just overall solid, right? Like, it's not like it was... Like, there have been previous ones that have been good, and maybe some of them are just like, oh, this is pleasant. This one I actually feel like was good, right? Like, even if it wasn't just like, because, you know, stuff like, something that comes to mind, Love After World Domination. That one was just, like, pleasant, right? It never really resolved anything, kind of dawdled a bit, or a lot. This one didn't do that, right? It started, it went, and it resolved, right? Thank you for doing that. Holy shit. I've been waiting for 80,000 years for that to happen. I drooled. Yeah, good stuff. Thank you. That's all. All right, you want to talk about dawdling? The angel next door spoils me rotten. Hey, I just realized I'm off. I should move over this way so you can see. Anyway, the angel next door spoils me rotten. This one dawdled too much, right? This is so cute. This is such a cute rom-com, and I like the trend of rom-coms that are like, you know, we're people that are kind of like, in terms of the social hierarchy, very far apart, and yet we come to learn about each other and understand each other, and then eventually fall in love with each other by just being ourselves and finding a comfy vibe in someone we trust. I like that, right? Because like living together and like coming to understand someone is best and most quickly done when you inhabit the same household and can spend time with each other super easily. I like that trend of rom-coms. It's good. This one got on my nerves because literally from like episode 5 to the end, I was like, when the fuck are you gonna kiss? Stop wasting my time. It's fine, because it cycled through all of the tropes. They went like shopping, they went to the festival, or what? Did they go to? I don't even fucking remember. They did the tropes. They cycled through all the tropes. And it annoyed me because it was like, they kept holding, especially, oh my god, I forgot his name. Whatever. The dude, he was just like, I'm not good enough to stand by her side. I can't let my... Like, she's so obviously, like, trying to fuck him, and, like, he's like, no, there's no way she would like a man like me. It's like, you need to stop and kiss. That's like all I was thinking for like the latter half of this show. I was just like, just stop what you're doing and kiss. I'm tired of it. I can't have unresolved sexual tension in my anime. I'm gonna just be angry. I'm just gonna be angry for, like, all the time, and I was, because like a lot of the stuff they do is very cute and very sweet and very wholesome, and I just like watching them interact and get closer is fun. So it's not like it's bad. And I appreciate that it does end with them, like, there's really nothing after. They really, like, just confess to each other, hug, and, like, maybe... Do they kiss? I don't remember. They, like, hug, and then that's over. Like, that's fine. But I wish it, like, dawdled less. Like, because I feel like I saw the same interaction a million fucking times. Like, where Sheena would so obviously hint that she's totally down bad for this guy. And he would be like... No way, she would never fall in love with me. We're not of the same stature. Don't talk to me in public or I'll get angry. Then people will start suspecting things. It's never made, like, in my heart of hearts, I understand why the guys would be like, hey, don't talk to me because you're so much cooler than me in the social hierarchy. But in my brain, I'm like, stop, you're stupid. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's fine, right? Like, the supporting cast is whatever. I'm gonna forget about them by next week. That's pretty much it. Like, it wasn't like it was bad. It was just annoying. But it was cute, so fair enough. Okay, Spy Classroom. I gotta say, as a reader of the light novels of this series, I think the storytelling style of Spy Classroom is better suited to the light novels, because I feel like a lot of big moments in at least the first 2 volumes of Spy Classroom, since that's all it managed to cover, they felt less big, right? They felt a lot like more dramatic and bigger in the light novels. And I don't necessarily think that's the anime's fault. I just think that because in the form of a book, a lot of the moments like Erna being revealed, like, oh wait, there are 8 of them. I already forgot there was 8 of them. Or like Olivia being the bad girl and whatever the fuck else, like, and Greet, like, having a giant fucking scar on her face. It's a lot of those feel like bigger moments in the light novels. So I don't know. I just feel like maybe it's better suited to that because you can, like, I don't know, you don't see everything so clearly like you do in the anime. Either way, I do like Spy Classroom. I think it's a delightful show. I think the voice cast is phenomenal. Like, this is an all-star cast for Spy Classroom here. It's just a good adaptation. It's a solid adaptation. I just think it could have been... maybe just the story is more fitting to a book style, like the book medium. But either way, Lamplight, Klaus, all the girls are good characters. I like that it spends some episodes delving deeper into certain characters like Sibylla, how do you fucking say her name in English? I don't know. But like her, it dives into Greet quite a bit for in the volume 2 content. Even like there's one other person, Erna, and like getting a feel for like what kind of character Klaus is, because he's very but I can't think of it. But he's not like, he's like kind of mysterious. You get it, right? Like he's not like a super talkative guy, but it's not like he's mean or just negative natured in general. Like he's just weird. He's a weirdo. Getting more of a feel for his character through how he interacts with all the girls, all the Lamplight girls, is nice, right? Because getting to explore those characters is good. I do wish a lot of the action scenes were a little bit more fleshed out or even animated at all. Because I feel like a lot of the big things where like the girls try to trap Klaus during their training, Klaus just like disappears, you know, like he's just vanished and then he's back and it's like, oh, good try. Goku Shoda, whatever the fuck he says. It just could have been better as like an anime project, right? Like I feel like it definitely was lacking in some areas, especially in like the visuals. They were very like aesthetically pleasing visuals in terms of the art style and all that, but I just wish I know Spy Classroom's really the main thing isn't the action, but it is a spy show. I wish it went a little farther with the animation, but regardless, I do like the whole like stealing the bioweapon from Klaus's former teacher, as well as infiltrating the mansion. Like they're not amazing, super, you know, in-depth plot story, like little mini stories, but I do kind of just like the vibe they give off. It's like very mysterious and it's a good vibe. I can't explain. I don't have words. Point is, I like Spy Classroom, but it's not really anything to go crazy about. I'm not gonna go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over it. I prefer the light novels. But if you like to see some cute girls doing cute spy things and learning to get along with each other, Spy Classroom is a solid watch. Okay, Reborn to Master the Blade. If you needed proof that a main character who likes fighting a lot can be done wrong, this is certainly it. Chris's only personality trait is that she likes to fight people and she likes to eat. Like that's it. Like what is there to say about her personality other than that she likes to fight, right? Like there's nothing spectacular at all about any of these characters. I do like Chris, Ronnie, Leona, and whatever the other Lise, I think, Lieselotte, whatever the fuck her name is. Those four, I like seeing them interact and talk with each other, but Chris never even really contributes much to those conversations. Like, the only thing she ever does is do some crazy athletic shit and then defeat and beat up the people that no one else can. There's some, like, semi-interesting plot points with, like, the, Ripple, whatever, Hyrule Menace, there it is. The Hyrule Menace is, like, them and then Ripple, and then there's, like, the one chick who's really strong, the small one who's really strong for some reason. There's the, Leona's older brother, who's, like, kind of bad, kind of good, can't really tell. Magicite beasts kind of just appear for some reason, randomly. This show just, it wasn't anything, right? Like, there was no real connecting thread. It was just Chris beating up people. And, like, she, like, tried to learn how to use Aether, which, like, only she could learn how to do, and, like, maybe two other people. It didn't feel like there was a story. It was just, like, Chris beating up people, and then, like, sometimes the other girls would help. And, like, I do like the supporting cast. I think they're very cute, but Chris annoyed the hell out of me. She does nothing. I mean, actually, she does the opposite of nothing. But that's the problem. Like, she has no character. Like, because she's a reincarnated thing, there's nothing for her to do. Like, there's no character development for her to go through. And it's not like she's planning to change the fact that she likes to fight people. So, there's nothing for her to change. It's just boring. She just fights people, and then, like, some weird guys in masks shows up, and then there's a prince, and he's annoying, and a lot of this show is just annoying. I like the girls, but it sucks because those cute girls who are adorable, and I like them, are stuck in this show where Chris, all that happens is Chris beats up people. I mean, I can't even tell you one thing that happened in this. Like, I know Leon was supposed to be good, and then he was bad, and there's, like, some weird Hyrule Menace people. One of them's I don't know. I don't know who's who. I can't even remember. Yeah, like, and even like Chris's strength, like, nobody questions it. You know what I mean? Like, she's just crazy strong. It's like, that's Chris. Huh? Now I'm gonna eat like 12 plates of steak. Like, probably more than that, like 35 plates of steak. That's not someone's character. Like, she doesn't have any real motivation, like, other than, well, I wanted to fight more in my past life, but I couldn't. And whatever. And also, why was there a fairy in between her tits? Like, who was that? It was a magicite beast that, like, got the power sucked out of it? I don't know. I just don't. I don't get it. I'm at a loss. Anyway, this one was like, whatever. Kubo won't let me be invisible. Another rom-com I thought I wasn't gonna like, and then I did. I don't think this one is particularly special, and I do think it's cute, and I like that Kubo, like, just the idea that, like, this one girl is the only guy who will ever notice Shiraishi, and I like that bit, like, the bit of, like, him, no one can see him, and even the automatic doors don't open for him. Like, it's cute, it's funny. Like, I like the whole idea of Shiraishi being so just much of a background character that only Kubo ever notices him. And then that leads to some wacky shenanigans, and, like, she finds him at the park, and, you know, they like, exchange manga or whatever, and, like, sometimes they run into each other at the convenience store, or whatever else. You know, like, it's not bad, and it's cute, and there's some weird shenanigans at the school, and it's kind of cute, but just, it's not really amazing. You know, it's not like Tomo-chan, because it's not really, like, satisfying. And granted, it got delayed. But, you know what I mean? Like, it's not... It's just kind of dawdling. That's what it is. Like, it's just dawdling. This one's very, like I mentioned, Love After World Domination came to mind earlier. This is very much in the same vein. It's just, like, cute. Great. But there's nothing much to say about it because it doesn't really do anything that really contributes to the story. It's just like they're kind of getting closer little by doing weird shenanigans. But it's fine. I hope they keep just doing what they're doing, and I know the manga recently ended, so that's good. But yeah, and I like the art style and all that. You know, it's just cute. Anyway, this one's not bad. It was cute. I like it. Alright, Endo and Kobayashi live, the latest on Tsundere, Villainess, Lieselotte. Lieselotte, whatever the fuck. How do you say her fucking name with an actual normal sounding like an English person? I don't know. But I gotta say, this was actually one of my favorites of the season. Like, this was really solid. Again, maybe it's because it started and resolved in one season. But I just genuinely think that this is a fun, creative idea, right? Like, it's very much in the same vein as, like, your reincarnated isekai in the fucking dating sim. I'm the villainess trapped in a dating sim. Fucking all these other things that have been springing up recently. Very much in the same vein as that, but I love the idea of, like, these two kids from the broadcasting club all of a sudden can actually speak to the characters in the game and influence the story in ways that, like, they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And it's not even a game, it's actually an isekai, it's another world. But the game is actually the connecting thread to the other world. So a lot of that stuff is resolved and done really nicely. And even the characters from Sieg to Lise to Fine, and even Endo and Kobayashi themselves delightful. They're so cute, so fun, and it's just a very cute and fun casual experience. Like, just watching, like, even just the episodes where they're just kind of like not really doing anything, and Sieg is just like, what the hell is a tsundere? Oh, Lisa's so fucking cute, and you know, Endo and Kobayashi are just commentating over it. It's cute and it's fun. Like, I love that idea. It feels very creative, very fresh, where you can talk to the game characters from another world. It's good. I really like it. And Lee's and Sieg's progression through the story is nice. The pacing's fine. I mean, I don't really care much for the whole Witch of Yore was actually the god and got infested with anger or whatever. That's stupid. But overall, I thought it was really solid. You know, it does help that it started and resolved in one season. But like the whole twist of like the god Kuon who came through to another world to find in a desperate search for his love, who didn't really love him back. It's like a good twist, especially when you're still learning about it. Like in the middle of the show, when you're like, you still think it's a game, that Magikoi is a game. It feels very like mysterious, knowing that like someone may have come from the game into the real world and like manifested themselves here with some kind of mysterious goal. And even the romance between Sieg and Lise is great, of course, but even I feel like the romance between Endo and Kobayashi isn't half bad either. Like, it's nicely paced and well developed. Like, it makes sense since they've spent so much time together. It's just good stuff. It's just a great show. Like, it really is. It's one of my favorites of the season, hands down. Like, it's fun, it's creative, it's different, it's fresh, it's cute, did I say cute twice? Point is, it's a good show. I really liked it. So yeah, definitely worth a watch if you like this style. All right, I'm not even sure what to tell you about this one. The ice guy and his cool female colleague. This is so cute. I mean, it really is. This one feels like it dawdles a lot. When we're talking about rom-coms and dawdling, this one definitely feels like it dawdles a lot. But I am a bit partial to workplace rom-coms. I think there's a certain cuteness about them. Maybe it's because we don't see them as much as high school rom-coms, but just seeing these two like grown-ass adults be so wholesome and sweet to each other, like slowly falling in love, or well, in Himuroto's case, just falling in love off the bat. Just seeing them be so sweet and nice to each other and slowly develop their relationship over time, it's very nice. It's very wholesome. It's very sweet. Like, this is like that show that would just make me smile, like without me even really realizing it. Like, I would just like watch it and they would do something cute and they would blush for like 5 seconds and I would just be like, "Aw, that's so cute." Like, it's very sweet. Like, it never really rushes. It doesn't, like, it dawdles. It doesn't fucking rush anything. And I even like the supporting cast, the other two couples, Saejima and whoever the fuck the other girl's name, who's a fox or something. And there's the Phoenix guy and the super serious girl. Even Himuro's little sister is cute. I think she's delightful. Just the way they impact the story, even however little it is. There's not really much of a story. They just kind of like, you know, they go skiing sometimes and it's cute and funny and it's got a good sense of humor too. It's really just everything. Like, if you want something that's super casual and just cute to watch, that will just make your heart melt because he's a nice guy. Laugh. This is it. It's just adorable. It really is. I don't know what else to tell you. It's super fucking cute. I loved it. It was, I mean, you know, it's not like the most amazing thing in the world. Like, I don't think it's better than Tomo-chan, for example. But as a cute watch, just for like the hell of it and funsies, like, what a fucking delightful show. It really was. Great show. It's just so cute. It's so adorable. You need cavity from that shit. Like, you're smiling so much, and it's so goddamn sweet. That's why, I think. All right. I know it by its old title, but they changed it for some reason. Apparently, disillusioned adventurers will save the world. They changed it to Ningen Fushin which I don't like, but it's just disillusioned adventurers will save the world. Great. This one was baffling. I mean, it's like this show thought it could introduce the premise of it, which is good and fairly creative, by the way. It's not a bad premise. It's like it thought it could introduce this premise in these four main characters and then just ride it and do whatever it wanted. Because it really did. There was not much of a connecting thread, and I certainly didn't care about any of the story that happened in the preceding 11 episodes after the first one. Like, there was just nothing to it at all. Like, they went into a dungeon a little bit, and, like, they fought, but, like, even the fighting itself was disorienting and weird and jumbled and messy. Like, not the fighting itself, but, like, the scenes that had the fighting were, like the way they were put together in the context of the episode. It was weird. Like, the fighting itself was fine, but, like, they go into a dungeon, they, like, pick up a sword, and like, the sword turns into a guy, and, like, and then they, like, slowly, like, get closer, but, like, hey, no peeking into other people's hobbies, that's bad. Like, you know, it is goofy, right, to a certain extent. Like, it's got a good sense of humor, and at least from the get-go, and, like, as it goes on. At the very least, Nick, I think, is a solid character. And even the others with their backstories and why they don't trust other people anymore. Like I said, the premise isn't bad, and the way it introduces it in episode 1 is good. I thought it was gonna really ride that, but it just didn't. It tried to ride it and fell the fuck off. It was like a pro surfer on a surfboard and being like, getting on a wave, catching it, and being immediately like, well, you know what? I'm out of here. And he just dives off head first back into the ocean. Like, that's what this show was. Because it didn't go anywhere. Like, what do you mean Curran's in a fucking, or like, Karan, what, how you fucking say her name? Karan? What do you mean she's in an arithmetic contest with Nick's ex-girlfriend? What does that mean? Why is she doing math? I thought they were gonna save the world. What the fuck does math have to do with this shit? And then there's like a mystery, like it tries to turn into like a mystery show with Stepping Man, and just no one gives a fuck about Stepping Man. I sure didn't, at least. What the fuck is Stepping Man? And then I don't even really remember the actual answer to who the fuck is Stepping Man and why they cared in the first place. I just remember this journalist girl who was kind of wacky getting involved sometimes. But like, the characters are so unremarkable. I think Nick's like the best one of the four, but like, they're just not remarkable at all. Like, they could have been so much more if they just worked on the actual premise. Like, hey, and they did a little bit in the dungeon. Like, hey, I don't trust you, but then they had to like make up or whatever because we saved each other's lives. Great, whatever. It could have been a lot more. It could have ridden that wave and done a lot more with the whole I don't trust people premise. But instead, they just got involved in weird shit. And they, like, started to fuse for some reason. Like, why? Yeah. The only, like, really solid connecting thread that happened sparsely in random spots throughout the show was the stuff with Nick's little idol girl, whose name I don't remember. I think Nick and the idol girl kind of, like, inadvertently inspiring each other to continue doing what they were doing, like pursuing their dreams, if you will, is good. I think that's a cute little subplot. And I think even the idea that Nick is like a fucking gung-ho idol fan is goofy. I like that idea, but it just never went anywhere with anything. It just never really committed to anything, and they sure didn't do a lot of saving the world. They didn't have to do a lot of saving the world, but they also didn't have to get into a fucking math contest. It's really not complicated. Yeah, this was boring. I didn't really get a lot out of it. Like, I thought the first episode, the intro of the premise, was great. Like, it could have really gone somewhere with that, and then just didn't. Big fucking letdown here. Okay, Buddy Daddies. I don't know why the recent surge of all of the assassin spy shows where they have kids, but if your goal was to make me want a daughter, I sure fucking do. Just like all of those weird spy, assassin, yakuza, taking care of kids shows, recently. This one's great. I think it's super adorable, and I do kind of wish that they'd gone a little more on the whole actually assassinating people. You know, like we'd actually gotten to see more of Kazuki and Rei's work. That didn't really happen a whole lot. It was a whole lot more of Miri going to daycare, which is fine. But like, I do wish like, that's why we have Sakamoto days. I do wish there'd been a little more heavy on the actual action of it all, because I feel like it would have been more compelling if like Miri sometimes would get, maybe not directly, but like they could be caught, she could have been caught in the crossfire of their work. You know, like there wasn't a whole lot of actual assassinating. I wish there was a little bit more of that, but I do understand the whole idea of like how Miri changes Kazuki and Rei and the development they go through by spending time with her and even with each other too. Like they change a lot between the first episode, and it hasn't quite finished as I'm recording this, obviously, but they change a whole lot in these first 11 episodes, and it's a really, really fun show. Like I am actually genuinely convinced that they're doing these shows to try to convince people to have kids, because, you know, having kids is, most people will tell you it's a good experience. It's just, and the mixing it with the goofiness of like spies and assassins and all that nonsense, it's good. I like it. And this one in particular it's really compelling because it's just these two best friends just trying to find their way in the world, you know, not necessarily the closest they could be, but they understand each other pretty well, and then they become even closer through helping raise a little girl. It's just really fun. I really like it. It's goofy. It's got, like I said, a lot of these shows this season, good sense of humor. It really has everything. Like, if for a show of this caliber, it is up on that level, right? Like for a show of this style, where like alongside Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, Spy Family, the whole cast, the whole crew, it's up there with them, right? Like it's a good show, and for being original, especially, like it's not based on a manga or anything, it's really solid. I really can't complain about it. It's very cute. Miri's adorable, and even like I do think it spends some time dawdling, but like getting the mother and Miri's actual mother involved and seeing how much of a fucking letdown she is as a person, and like that eventually coming to a head when she like gets diagnosed with something, and then eventually gets assassinated, and like Rei's dad being a fucking mad psychopath. Like there's a lot of even supporting characters outside of the main cast that add to the story, so it's good. I really like this one. It's definitely up there with those other shows I mentioned, so good stuff. Okay, Sugar Apple Fairy Tale Part 1. This might be a little too shoujo for me. I've always kind of had a thing, and this happens in harem shows too, like regular harem shows, but shoujos I've noticed, especially like once the main love interest and even the other love interests fall in love with the protagonist, they're kind of relegated to not having characters except for being madly in love with the protagonist. And this one's definitely true for Shao. He doesn't really do much after falling for An, then just be like, I'll protect you because I'm a man, whatever else. I don't know, but I like the world that Sugar Apple Fairy Tale sets up, right? Where like An is just fighting to be like fulfill her dreams and become a silver sugar maker, obviously, but also trying to fight against like the so blatant discrimination against fairies, because like she doesn't see why they should be discriminated against and why they should be owned as slaves, and like trying to work out that dynamic with Shao and Mithril. The progression of the story is whatever. Like I like the arc of where An makes the thing for the Duke, and like it reminds him, or like in the image of his mermaid girlfriend or whatever. A lot of the story is like kind of all over the place, but I do think it's not bad, especially if you get into it, spend some time like actually zoning in on it. You know, I feel like you could really get something out of this. It's got enough to it. Like the world is very complete feeling. Like there's definitely a whole lot to this world, and I appreciate that about it. Yeah, this one's all right. It's getting part 2 in the summer, so we'll cover it again. But yeah, I do wish Shao had a little bit more of a character after falling for An. For some reason, just every character that's not like in the main cast is like out to get An for some reason. Like I did notice that she's like the only girl crafter, but that doesn't still make sense to me. And like, there's that weird blonde chick who like wants Shao for some reason, and then he like leaves with her to like, because he wanted to help On, makes a deal with her, and like she's just trying to get some fairy dick or something. Like, none of it really, I don't know why everybody's out to get On, but like, she didn't, as far as I know, she didn't fucking do anything wrong, but Jesus Christ, I don't fucking know. Yeah, this one's not bad, and I like the whole like fairy sugar vibes. It's very shoujo. What can I say? Okay, the Iceblade Sorcerer shall rule the world. This was written by a man after my own heart. This is so good. Again, this is one of my favorites of the season. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This one's really, really solid. Just everything about the Iceblade Sorcerer. It's how do I explain it? It seems like it's taking itself seriously, but it's not, right? Like there's a lot of serious things about it, but at the same time, it never feels like it takes itself too seriously. Like Rei's past is actually like compelling and emotional, and there's that man went through some shit. But then at the same time, like, Rei is just like casually shrugging off like, oh, you're an ordinary, like that's like fucking discrimination at school, and then at the same time like making 12 girls fall in love with him. And even just Rei as a character, like he's just very well disciplined, and I wish more protagonists were like this guy. He's just very straightforward, and even the supporting cast of I forget the guy's name, but Rei's best friend at the Muscle Club. just everything is got a little hint of like, we're not taking this too seriously, and then some of it's just straight up goofy, like the Muscle Club stuff. But even the stuff with like training Amelia to defeat her childhood friend, the elf girl whose name I forget, trying to just overcome her social anxiety, Pigtail Girl being Pigtail Girl, Rebecca's little plot at the end where she's like supposed to be married off to someone and then maybe killed possibly, like, it's not bad. Like, there's not a lot of cohesiveness to the story, but at the same time, I really like the main set of characters. So I don't mind the disjointedness of the story too much, just because I liked watching Rei and his little cast of crew, his little girlfriends and the muscle guy, just do whatever, you know, like, and there's even the moments of like Rei revealing that he's the Iceblade Sorcerer and fighting the teacher who would turn into a demon, and then like he did fight in the last episode, I forget who, but like some strong guy who wanted to fight. He's like, I'm here to kill you, Iceblade, and he'll be like, all right, fuck you, and it resolves in a decent place. And like some of the stuff, like just the sense of humor in Iceblade Sorcerer is really, really good. Yeah, it's just a very, very fun fantasy show. It really is. Like, I do think it's very fun, and like fantasies can be super disjointed and like, you know, hop from one place to another, but I think that can be resolved if you have a good set of characters to like go along with everything. And this one definitely did. Like, Amelia, she reminds me of fantasies from that I watched when I was like 16 that first got me into like fantasy trashy isekai shit. Amelia I think she's a solid character. I really do, like, especially considering her rivalry with the other fancy girl and how she deals with it all, and then eventually awakening to her power. It's good stuff. I really like Amelia. I don't think, like, Rebecca's whatever too. Like, I get the whole shebang between her and her little sister, and that's good stuff too. But you know, it's just good. Like, it very much reminds me of stuff like the Asterisk War. Like, that's one of the shows that first got me into like seasonal, less known anime, and it very much reminds me of that. Like, it's just good stuff. I really like the Iceblade Sorcerer. All the characters are delightful. It's fun. It's goofy, and yet the fight scenes are solid. Even the supporting cast, like Rei's master, the chick in the wheelchair, Carol, the principal of the academy. Pretty much everyone is just fun. Like, they're just good characters, and like they're not boring. It's just good. I like the Iceblade Sorcerer shall rule the world. Good fucking show. Okay, the reincarnation of the strongest exorcist in another world. yeah, I gotta tell you, I don't fucking remember anything about this show. It's not even over, and I still don't fucking remember anything. It's because Seika, the protagonist, I don't even understand his motives or his powers at all. Like, everything he does just has no rhyme or reason to it in my head. Like, it just doesn't feel like he's acting on any sort of motivations whatsoever. And like, my man is well aware that Aoife, or Yifa, or the fuck, whatever the fuck her name is, the blonde chick, is totally down bad for him. And he's just like, I'll just let it fester. Like, he never does anything. Like, and when he does, he like opens up a gate to the netherworld, to the shadow realm, and a giant snake comes out, and the problem's dealt with in 20 seconds or less. Like, and he's like, all right, back to the academy. And then the little fox on his shoulder is like, are you sure you should have done that, Seika? He's like, whatever. Like, it's just, it just doesn't feel like there's any rhyme or reason to anything. And even the characters like Amu and Mabel, they don't really do anything. Like, I do think fucking Amu, the hero, I think she's good. And like, why was the princess at Seika's house for a while? And like, why did his big brother, who used to be a dick, turn into not a dick? He just did. And like, the princess was there because she just was, and she can see into the future or something. And like, and like, they're all kind of in love with Seika a little bit for some reason, even though he's just the most whatever dude imaginable. Like, he doesn't even tell them anything. He's not open at all. He just kind of always speaks in riddles to them. And like, sometimes he befriends a dragon. It just doesn't feel cohesive at all, because the main character doesn't feel like he's doing anything with a purpose. Like, even when he's beating the shit out of people, or like singing a song and being like, hey, you're about to die, it's like, why are you doing that? He's like, oh, well, they'll get in the way of me going to school. It's like, okay, cool. I don't fucking care. Anyway, I don't really, this one just, it's so nothing. And it's like kind of boring. And yeah. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, forming life in an isekai nonbiri noka. Isekai nonbiri noka. Fuck. Isekai nonbiri nonka. Forming life in another world or whatever. God, this shit was fucking boring. This shit was so boring. Like, I did not sign up to watch another dude play Minecraft. Like, literally, he's like playing The Sims. He's just like building a town from scratch. And like, that's fun when you're actually doing it, but watching someone else do it is not fun. The cast, it feels like these characters should serve more of a purpose, like Tia and even his wife, the vampire girl, who he eventually has a kid with for some reason. Like, it feels like these characters should play more of a purpose. But the story is they make a village and where everybody is happy, and the only man is the mayor. Fucking, I don't remember his name because I don't care. This one is, I actually just let it slip from my brain. Like, the others I don't try to forget, and this one I just forgot because I don't give a shit. The mayor and like a few wolf kids. Like, those are the only men, and like the elves constantly want to have babies, and like, they're just building like hot tubs and making wine and like getting people drunk and like negotiating with the princess and the king and the dragons or whatever. It's so fucking boring. Like, there's not much you can say to save it. It's just, there was not a whole lot of positives here. Here's what I'll say. If you want a show that you can put on and not pay attention to, this is certainly that show. Because I tell you what, you can watch like a minute of each episode and you'll be fine. You'll be like, oh, wow, look how much they've done since I left. Yeah, this shit is boring. Next! Alright, chilling in my 30s after I got kicked out of the Demon King's army or whatever. You know what? This one seemed boring. It's not as boring as I'm about to give it credit for. I do think there's some good stuff here, like the whole Dariel being the son of the hero, and like how he was raised by the fire general in the army, and like the fire general's kid got all jealous because he wasn't getting attention anymore. The fire general's kid being a dipshit is another story, but whatever. Like, there's some alright stuff here, and like, do we even really need to fight against the heroes or against the demons? Like, can we live under a united front? Like, why is there a mithril mine? Like, Dariel getting married and having a kid. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just like kind of boring. Even though like I do feel like, even though I do feel like there was some like decent connecting threads here, and like Dariel's constantly like trying to just help out the town that saved him and like trying to live a happy life, and like the hero shows up for some reason. She's blonde, she's cute, and like, but also a Demon King general shows up at the same time, and it's just kind of weird feeling. I don't know, like, even though all of that happened, I'm just like, I don't really care, if that makes sense. I don't know why, but like, I do think it was an alright show. Like, it's an alright fantasy show, and I like Dariel's arc, and, you know, Malika's just kind of there to be the hot mom, but it's, I mean, even like the whole, we can live in harmony alongside the Demon King's army, and like all that it's not bad, it's just whatever. Like, I just feel like I've seen a lot of the same stuff a million other times, you know? It's because it's not like it was bad, and I like a lot of the angles that it took and the direction that it went, but I mean, maybe a lot of it's just canceled out by the Demon King's, like the fire guy, the one who goes berserk in the end because he didn't get enough attention as a kid. Like, he had daddy issues. Like, he went fucking crazy for no reason out of jealousy, and it just made me mad. Whatever. Yeah. It's whatever. It's an alright show, I guess. I honestly forgot everything about this one. Giant Beasts of Ars. Man, you want to talk about disjointed? I don't fucking remember anything. I totally forgot to fucking write down anything on my document because that shit was so boring. The only thing I can really say with certainty is that I do like the angle where Kumi is like from a factory, and she's like a weird one-off successful maybe prototype of something that can do something or other. But like, Jiro is annoying and makes me angry. Even the supporting cast is completely forgettable. Like, they don't do anything. Like, it feels like I never know what their goal is. Like, they're constantly wandering around and fighting people sometimes. But like, Jiro is so fucking obnoxious. Or maybe he's so obnoxious because it just feels like he doesn't ever want to do anything. Like, he doesn't ever feel like he wants to like participate. The only thing he ever wants to do is protect Kumi, but Kumi's at the same time like, no, I want to protect you, Jiro, and there's just like this weird stalemate that never really gets resolved until like the last episode, where they kind of maybe reach a solution. But man, even though they're doing so much and going to all these different places, I never feel like I know why. Like, why are they here? And then they're talking to people who's like, no, our race is proud and strong. It's like, why do I give a fuck? I don't know. I don't think it was horrible, but it definitely wasn't like good enough to make me want to pay attention. Again, I am very much like I like shows that are character driven. Like, those are always the ones that resonate with me the most. And this show is definitely not that. The characters are completely and utterly forgettable. So, yeah, it's sad. And, you know, for a show called Giant Beasts of Ars, I sure don't fucking remember looking at any giant beasts. I feel like half the time they just fought some dude. Like an old guy. Whatever. Show's boring. Alright, Ayakashi Triangle. Kentaro Yabuki. Woohoo! To Love Ru creator. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm a manga reader of this series, so I can pretty much tell you whatever you need to know, but I do like the angle of like a boy and a girl who are like, the boy wants to protect the girl, but so he doesn't want her to get involved with Ayakashi, who may or may not be dangerous, and the girl's like, no, but I like them, they're friendly, but you're so mean for saying that about them. But then the guy gets turned to a girl, and all of a sudden they like kind of start talking because it would be more natural for them to talk in terms of the social understanding around them. And they all of a sudden like come to understand each other a little better. I do like that idea. Like, it's not bad. And a lot of the, you know, it's not bad. And I do think like a lot of the scenes where Matsuri and Suzu get closer are not bad at all. Like, there's some good character work there. And I even think I was even impressed with some of the fighting, like the animation on some of Matsuri's fighting. It's fucking good, surprisingly good. But even like the supporting cast, like the guy with the sharp teeth, whose name I forget, Lou, and what's her face, the other one, Reo, and like even a lot of the Ayakashi concepts, like the Jinkies and the icons and the whatever the fuck else there are. It's not bad stuff. Like, the Ayakashi system is alright, and Shirogane's annoying a lot, but again, he does have his funny moments. Like, it does have a decent sense of humor, but yeah, it's like, whatever. Like, a lot of the weird pervy scenes are very borderline uncomfortable, like maybe teetering over the edge a little bit, but yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I've never seen to love Ru, so I don't know how it compares, but I don't think Ayakashi Triangle is that bad. I think the world that it sets up is not bad. It works, and the characters are decent. Of course, a lot of the draw is the weird, uncomfortable scenes, but you know, I can close my eyes. They are weird, but yeah, it's I don't think it's horrible. And I do like the angles of, like, Matsuri trying to learn how to be more friendly with people since you struggle with that, and Nino Kuru, that's the other guy. Nino Kuru learning to, like, have friends and deal with Matsuri as a girl. Yeah, there's some good stuff here, good character work, so I can appreciate it. Not bad. Thanks, Kentaro Yabuki. Go back to drawing, like, the 5 fucking mangas you're working on right now. Alright. 2 cores. Urusei Yatsura. I gotta tell you, I really like Urusei Yatsura. A couple roundups ago, I talked about Tokyo Mew Mew, the Tokyo Mew Mew reboot, which I really loved. And once again, Urusei Yatsura reboot, I love it. I think it's so much fun. I love all the characters involved here. It's just very, very light, goofy, fun humor. That's just it takes the idea of like the concept, the premise of Urusei Yatsura, and just goes in totally wacky directions with it for these weird, like, episodic stories. And I really like that. Like, getting in, like, every time it introduces a new character, I'm not, like, annoyed. I think they can contribute something, right? Like, even the wacky squad of 3 girls from, like, Lum's middle school, I feel like are fun and goofy, but, like, everyone between Ron, the ice girl, the nurse girl, even the rich kid whose name I forget, and his sister, like, a lot of these characters are fun and goofy and can, like, add to, like, these little goofy one-off things that they do. It's fun. It's just adorable and fun to watch. Like, every week I'd look forward to it just because it's, like, it's not like a continuous story. It's just goofy fun. Like, that just happens every week, and it's like, it very much reminds me of, like, the Tom and Jerry's and the Looney Tunes from my childhood. It's very, very fun. I'm a big fan. It really got me. It's just adorable, and I love the dynamic. I mean, it does get annoying sometimes, but between Lum and I forgot about Shinobu. She's fine, whatever. Between Lum and Moroboshi, like, they're Atsuru, that's his name. Atsuru and Lum, I think they're fun. Like, most of the time, just watching them interact is goofy and fun, and, like, Atsuru is a great lead. Like, the way, like, his role in, like, the premise where he's got this chick who's, like, trying to get married to him, basically, and is like, you're gonna be my boyfriend because you won the race against me in episode 1, and, like, he's, like, all, like, a fucking ladies' man, but never really successful at it. Like, it's just goofy. I really like it. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. It's just a fun show. So if you like these goofy episodic shows, Urusei Yatsura is a great fucking time. It really, really is. All right, Blue Lock. This show's got to be up there with Summertime Render as one of my favorite shows I've ever covered on these roundups. Fuck me. Blue Lock fucking rules. It really, really does. You remember how I gushed about Summertime Render for like 5 minutes? I'm about to do the same for Blue Lock. Jesus Christ, I genuinely can't imagine a better sports anime. I really can't. I don't know if I've never seen Haikyuu, I've never seen any fucking other goddamn sports anime. I cannot imagine a better sports anime than Blue Lock. It just rules. Everything about it is so good. It nails every aspect of the soccer and the blue, like, even the Blue Lock itself is such an interesting idea, and, like, it just commits to it. Everything it does, it commits to it. Like, even Ego being like, I'm talking like a fucking, sounds like I'm talking about a fucking waffle. Ego, this man absolutely committing to the wacky idea of the Blue Lock, of, like, locking these kids into a fucking facility where they have to improve their abilities as a striker, otherwise they get kicked out, is ruthless. And it's awesome because it forces the characters to evolve, and improve themselves. Like, it's great. I love everything, pretty much everything about Blue Lock. Like, it just nails it. It really does. So before anything else, the visuals are so cool. I love the eyes when they like got the little cloudy particles around him, and like the puzzle pieces that Isagi has around him all the time, where he like, I have to reassemble the pieces and become a new striker, like and like devour the abilities of other. It's just, the visuals are so nice. So that's one part taken care of. I love the characters in Blue Lock. Like, just the way they each have their own motivations to get better at being a striker. Especially, like, Isagi is actually the most plain one out of all of them. Like, between Bachira, Kunigami, Chigiri, Nagi, Reo, like even Baro and Rin, like, you've got some great motivations to really work on, like, and very different and distinct motivations for people to get better at soccer. So the characters very much drive home the story. So, and I love the pacing of the story as well. Like, it just, the way it's constantly ramping up over time through each selection. And even as each selection itself reaches the climax, like that game against Nagi's team, where Team Z played Nagi's team, was awesome. And even I was so hyped when like Nagi's team played when Isagi, Nagi, and Baro played Reo and Kunigami and Chigiri, and then when they played the four-man team of the top three in Bachira. Like, fuck, man, I've never been more hyped for sports in my life. I played baseball for like 12 years as a child. I've never been more excited about sports than I was with Blue Lock. Like, fuck, man. Like, it just gets you on the train. Like, I do feel like maybe you do have to know a good bit about soccer ahead of time to really get on board with this, but I think you don't really need to, because you're gonna learn, damn it. And literally from episode 1, it gets you on the train. Like, everything from like the way it paces each scene and shot, from the way like the voice actors deliver their lines, it gets you on board straight from the beginning. And the way it's constantly evolving and introducing new characters, it's just great. And I love the way it's constantly changing. Like, when Isagi and Nagi first teamed up, I was so hyped, because you just know that they're about to kick ass, because their playstyles match. Like, they would bounce off each other so nicely, and they do. Like, everything, like even the idea of the Blue Lock, right? I mentioned this before. It forces the players to evolve or get kicked out. Like, Isagi is constantly trying to figure out ways that he can better himself as a striker, and like, he's constantly devouring and observing other people's abilities, and his ability to like see the field and understand what people were going to do, and his foresight. It's such a cool ability, and it's perfect for the protagonist of a soccer series, because it allows the supporting cast to really get on the action, and Isagi to be the main support, like the MVP essentially, but he doesn't actually get a lot of the impressive plays, because that's reserved for like Nagi's technical ability and Chigiri's speed and Kunigami's huge build and Bachira's impressive dribbling. Like, and it's so good. Even the fucking Blue Lock, the idea of Blue Lock itself, right, which is covered a handful of times throughout the show. Blue Lock is like, as an idea, is supposed to be like, let's force one of these young kids to become the best striker in the world. It sounds crazy, and it actually addresses that in terms of the business world of soccer, of like the Japan soccer, like entertainment business. Ego has to pitch the Blue Lock idea and to business professionals to invest in it and show that it's producing results, that Japanese soccer can actually get back on track. Like, that's showing promising results. And Ego's really taking his time with it, and the Japanese, the big shots aren't happy, because they're impatient. They want something now. Like, they're investing all this money. They better see some results. So Ego is like constantly having to defend this, and like him and Henri are constantly always saying, we believe in this project. Like, you have to have faith in it, and give it time. Otherwise, it's not going to be fulfilled. Like, we're not going to get the results we want out of it, but we're 100% confident. It even tackles that aspect of it, because you can't just lock these kids away for like weeks and weeks at a time and not expect their parents to be like, hey, what the fuck? You know, like, it tackles everything. It's fully, like, it's got the complete world. Like, even when you're just so zoned in on the Blue Lock itself, like the actual facility in the games, it's still, the story itself still remembers the outside world. So it's so good. It just, everything about it is so fucking awesome. Even if you don't like sports, I cannot recommend Blue Lock enough. It's so much fun. It's such a good, like, these moments, a lot of these moments are up there with top tier shonens that I've read. Like, Blue Lock is incredible. The anime project, like, everything from like the music, the voice acting, the pacing of the scenes, the pacing of the story, everything about it is phenomenal. It's so good. I absolutely cannot recommend Blue Lock enough. It's just amazing. It's an amazing show. It really is. Fuck, man. Anyway, that's enough gushing. Let's move on to sequels. Alright, Bofuri, Season 2. I don't want to get hurt, so I maxed out my defense. This is adorable. I mean, it's just like Season 1, right? Like, it's just fucking cute. Like, they just, Maple and Sally and company wander around and do things, and it's goofy and fun. Like, Maple sets herself on fire, explodes a few times, Sally's afraid of the ghosts and shit, and like, sometimes we see like, Me is not a character, and like, Pain's still doing Pain things, and like, Frederica is still trying to beat Sally, even though she has no chance in hell. It's pretty much just more goofy stuff. I mean, it's just fun. It's cute, right? Like, they don't really do anything. It's not really like there's a story. There's not really stakes. They just kind of do things. And it's cute, right? Like, I like the main thing I liked about the season was seeing members of different guilds team up. You know, like, we got to see Maple, Iz, and Me all work together. That was cute. Like, and like, we got to see all of the different characters get their own pets. Like, even though Maple and Sally had Syrup and Obero, like, everyone got their own pets to benefit their own strengths, and they're creative and fun. Like, and even the events we saw were fun. Like, it's just good, right? Like, I don't know what else to tell you. It's just cute, goofy fun. Every time, like, Maple's shenanigans, they'll just like, oh, it's funny. Like, oh, she set herself on fire. Oh, she exploded. She's fine. That's the joke. Like, it's I make it sound bad, but like, that actually is funny. It finds a way to keep that bit fairly fresh. So like, fair play to it. It's just Bofuri. They don't really do anything. They just kind of like wander around, and it's goofy. So, good stuff. All right. Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, Season 2. I gotta say, I covered Uzaki-chan in the last roundup, and this is more just like that. It is more of the same. You just jump right back into it. You get episode 1, it's like, oh wow, I never left. I mean, it really is. And one thing I actually appreciate about Nagatoro is I like the whole idea of like the Gal Squad getting on board with Senpai and like teasing him, and it's all goofy stuff, and that's like, I was like, oh, we actually do like Senpai. Like, even our our differences in the social hierarchy, you're still a cool guy, Senpai. It's fun. Like, I like that about Nagatoro, and there's more of that this time around. Again, very much in the same vein as Uzaki-chan Season 2 from last season. I wish there was more romantic development, because we want to talk about dawdling. This one definitely dawdled quite a bit. And that's kind of like what it does. But the thing is, it's saved by, like, the reason it can dawdle so much, but, like, the thing is, the reason it dawdles so much is because the shenanigans, like, the inherent premise and the dynamic between Senpai and Nagatoro is just fun. It's goofy, right? So, yeah, it's just more Nagatoro, right? Like, the sitcom style of it is just good, and, like, I like the situations, and, like, we even get to see like, Nagatoro is like, oh yeah, I want to get better at judo so that I can beat that one chick who showed up like twice. And there's even the former art club president's little sister who gets involved, and she's funny, and Senpai's like still trying to resolve to get better at art. It's just good. I won't call anyone else Senpai. I don't fucking know this kid's name, but like, he's Senpai in my head. Yeah, it's just good, right? Like, it's cute, it's fun. Like, they're still, the Senpai and Nagatoro, they're still figuring everything out. They're trying to get a feel for each other. Maybe literally unsure. But yeah, it's just good, it's fun, and I like it. What do you want me to tell you? All right, Inspector season 2. I don't know. Holy shit! Fuck, you scared the shit out of me. All right, Inspector season 2. I don't know why I did this to myself. I gotta be honest with you. I didn't sign up to watch 12 episodes of Scooby-Doo, but like only the part of Scooby-Doo where they talk about how they solve the mystery. And also sometimes it's a lie. Yeah, I don't know why I did this. I like watched season 1 of Inspector like kind of at the last second right before the season started, kind of wondering what it was about, and so I just kind of dove into season 2, and yeah, it was boring. I think the only part of season 2 that I actually kind of liked was the Snow Woman little story, but even that, it's just like, I can never tell when Iwanaga is lying or not. And I feel like that's bad, because I don't really ever get a full grasp on what's actually happening. Like, even when she's like trying to explain away this random shit, I just never really feel like I understand it. And I also feel like I don't give a fuck. Yeah, it's just like literally all they do is it's just Iwanaga trying to explain weird murder mysteries that happened while Kuro just stands there looking ominous. And sometimes he fights people, but it's never worth anything because he doesn't fucking die. So it's just pointless. Anyway, this shit sucks. Next! I'll tell you what, if you ask me what I was not expecting to cover again, it's the Fruit of Evolution. I don't know how this show is back. I'm so surprised this got season 2. Holy fuck. But I actually think this had a lot more substance to it than season 1. So fair enough. It's still very much the same, like, weird, absolutely goofy, off-the-wall humor as the last season. But I do, like I said, I do feel like there's more substance to this one. Like, from, like, I'm really gonna lose my mind here. Seiichi, there we go. Everything from Seiichi, like, teaching his little class who are, like, not good with magic, and, like, the weird misfit kids to conquer and master their magic abilities, to, like, the whole Devil King angle, and like why he, like, this kid who had a hot teacher die, and like he's out for vengeance against the world or whatever, and like trying to make a human and demon united front. Like, there's some okay stuff here, right? Like, even like, I don't know why Seiichi was on the toilet for 2 episodes, but point is, I do think this one was alright. I do feel like it's a lot less goofy than last season, but it definitely has the same sense of humor. Like, in fact, I would almost say it's more off the wall than last season, because a lot of the shit that happens is just wacky and doesn't make any sense. It introduces some weird characters, like that one chick who was maybe a childhood friend of Seiichi's and maybe not, but was also kind of an imposter, and then the imposter turns good because he's like, wow, I've never experienced real friendship before. That shit. And it hasn't ended as of this very moment. Season 2 hasn't, but it's whatever, you know? Like, it's kind of just wacky, and it very, like, gets very meta, like, it's very self-referential, self-aware, so it's fine. And, like, there was a goofy episode recently where, like, the guy in a Speedo fought the other guy, and was like, wow, you're an even match, but, like, that guy was also infiltrating the guild or whatever. It's just wacky. It's just wacky stuff. If you're really into that wacky, self-referential, self-aware shit, then you might like this show. And that said, I actually did like the angle of, unironically like the angle of the misfit kids learning to use their magic, even though Seiichi just really did it all for them. Whatever. Yeah. It was alright. Okay, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Season 4, Part 2. I liked this one. This one I liked a little more than the last part, I think. Just, it was a bit slow. I'll definitely say that. But at the same time, I think that was probably the right call, because the slow buildup of Belle and Ryu, like, kind of working out their feelings about being stuck in the dungeon, and Ryu confronting her past and all of that, and eventually, like, and even like the searching squad trying to figure out how to survive in the deeper floors of the dungeon and reach wherever Belle was. It was all decent stuff. Like, there were some good fights this season, or this part of the season. Like, it was just decent. It was just solid. I mean, it was just solid overall. It really was. Like, Ryu confronting her past was actually more compelling than I would originally have given it credit for, because they would just start off with like a scene at the beginning of every episode where, like, she would be talking in her past, like she would have a memory of her talking to, like, her guild master or whatever, the god that was associated with her group, and they would just say like some kind of like random shit, but it did all contribute at the end to her like getting over that and like saying, oh, I want to protect Belle at all costs, and then they fight the giant juggernaut or whatever. It's good, and like the juggernaut went fucking wacko mode and like grew 3 separate arms out of metal or some shit. I don't remember what happened, but it was cute, it was fun, and it was, I mean, even like I said, the fights were good. I think the character work was solid. Everything like Welf trying to figure out his blacksmithing shit in the middle of the dungeon while everybody else fought shit, and that one fight that the search squad had with the floor boss. There's some good stuff, and like it really did feel like towards the end that Belle and Ryu were getting really desperate and they had to like really try to figure something out. It was solid. It was a very good addition to this series, and I'm happy with where it ended. So good stuff. This is what I'm gonna have the most trouble with. Misfit of Demon King Academy Season 2. Yeah, this got delayed, and only half the season is out, but I feel like even if I had seen those next 6 episodes, I would still probably know just about the same amount that I do right now, which is basically nothing. Misfit of Demon King Academy is weird because it's so goofy. It's very much like it knows that it's like Anos is kind of just breaks everything and like does whatever the hell he wants, and like that kind of breaks everything that the world sets up, and that's kind of the point, I think. But at the same time, it means Anos is constantly doing all this random shit and breaking the world, and it never really gives the characters time to like recuperate and do character things, like have a personality. It just kind of leaves them all in a weird position where Anos is just bashing through the plot at like light speed, and everyone else is just kind of stuck watching him. So so because of that, I don't even really feel like I know what happened, because I really don't. Like, there was a tree and they took a quiz, and like I don't know, I feel like it's such a shame, because Misha and Sasha are great. At the very least, I like them, and like some of Anos's like weird follower squad is cute and fun. So like it does feel like a shame, but I do think the draw is Anos going like Insano style and just fucking breaking everything. So like, I get it, but at the same time, I don't feel like you should be sacrificing the plot for that, because I really don't fucking know what happened. Like, I do remember that there was like an invasion of Anos's hometown, and like the school was raided, and like the sword guy's girlfriend turned out to be evil or something. Yeah, it's just wacky, but that's pretty much it. Like, I just wish the plot wasn't just bashed through at light speed. Like, if it had given the story a little more time, I do feel like it would have been more impactful, and there would have been like some actual really stakes there, because it doesn't really feel like no matter what happens, like it just feels like Anos can't lose. So like even if you know in like other shonen or whatever that, you know, obviously our hero is not going to lose, but even in this one, it's just like Anos just breaks everything so completely that you never even really get the sense that anybody is a threat to him. So that feels like a shame, but other than that, I think it's goofy and fun, so whatever. Okay, To Your Eternity, Season 2. This was a hell of a ride. I mean, it really, really was. So, I'm not going to go too much in depth, because we are getting a Season 3, so I don't know when, but at some point we are. I'm not going to get too much in depth, but what a fucking roller coaster this was. Everything from Kahaku, Bon, Fushi learning to revive people, like everything that happened in that city, Fushi spreading his roots out and like going fucking Insano style and capturing everything in his grasp. There's a lot of crazy shit that happened this season, and I don't even feel like I can possibly remember it all. But like I did enjoy Bon's arc of him like kind of working alongside Fushi and, you know, being targeted by like the royal whoever, and not religious whoever, some kind of sect of some kind, whatever. It was just a wild ride, and it kind of, again, it felt very disjointed, but like kind of understanding Fushi and going along with his journey and seeing how he interacts with other people around him and how his abilities can affect the outcome of the story. It's all right, and it's good, compelling stuff. And the idea of Fushi itself, like, obviously this is something I would have covered had I covered Season 1, but, like, I'm not going to say too much on this, but, like, just Fushi having been brought to life the way he was, like, it's just, it makes for such an interesting protagonist, and I do think Fushi like follows through on that, so it's really interesting to see how he grows as a character, and not, I mean, and as in the terms of his roots or whatever the fuck. It's decent stuff, and Kahaku is a weird wild card in all of this too. Thankfully, everything like got resolved, and Fushi learning to revive the people that he once knew is a very, very surprising like direction for the story to take. And I'm very curious to see how that's going to affect the modern society once we get into season 3. It does kind of feel like a lot of the climactic scenes in this show are just kind of whatever, because it's all over the place, right? Like, there's a lot of different characters at play doing a bunch of different things, and Fushi has to deal with all of them. So when he's like fighting the knockers, it's always kind of just like, I never really keep track of what's happening. It's not like by choice, like I'm trying to follow it, and I'm always just lose track of everything because I'm so fucking confused. Like, where did he go and why? And like sometimes they're fighting, but sometimes he's not. I don't know. But it is a good show, and I do enjoy it. So it's just wacky. I never really understood why the knockers are even at play in the first place, and like what's the role of the god in black and all this other nonsense. But I'm assuming that'll be covered towards the very end of the show. Yeah, this was a good follow up to season 1 though. So I liked it. I like Bon and all of these other wacky characters doing random shit. There are some good some good aspects of like, you know, people becoming like, there's like a religious thing, a clan devoted to Fushi and trying to help him, and like him wallowing in despair for a while and trying to make some friends, and like Bon realizing how dangerous it might be if Fushi learned that he could actually revive people from the dead. Again, good stuff. I like this show. It's got a lot of interesting stuff to it, so fair play. All right, finally, Bungo Stray Dogs season 4. This was another absolutely wacky, silly, goofy ride. I mean, wow. I've never really been great at keeping track of what's going on in this show. I definitely lost it here. Bungo Stray Dogs does have a bad habit of like starting out with a few episodes of just, what does this have to do with anything? And like the 4 episodes of Rompo backstory where he's at a theater or whatever is very wacky. I didn't think it was bad. Like, it was entertaining at the very least, and like helps us get a better understanding for Rompo's character. But once the story actually starts and you realize like the detective agency's been framed for terrorism, I'm like, okay, what? And then it just goes wacko mode. Like, these two guys, like, maybe they obviously don't kill Kunikita, but they like maybe kill Kunikita from a fucking helicopter. Atsushi and Kyoka end up in like a casino in the sky. Like, Dazai's like in prison for some reason, just talking to a guy, like some other dude for like the entire season. He's like, well, actually humans are kind of wacky. Like, I don't get it. I don't even remember how Dazai ended up in there in the first place. It's just wacko mode, and like getting the hunting dogs and all of that stuff, like it's just all over the place. I can say a few things though about Bungo Stray Dogs. It is definitely fun, and a lot of the fight scenes are really nicely done, and like the whole getting this huge vast world of characters involved in the story is usually it's fun and it's interesting, because like you never know who's gonna betray who, and like who's gonna fight with whose side, and like how each company or whatever, what their goals and objectives are, and what they're trying to accomplish against in this fucking free-for-all battle royale of companies and agencies. But overall I like the characters. Again, a lot of it's saved by the characters, because I really like the detective agency. I like pretty much everybody there. Like, they've got solid, well-established characters, and I understand like their motivations. Like, because I understand who they are as characters, I understand like why they would do certain things they would do. Like Kunikita sacrificing himself. Very Kunikita thing to do. But yeah, it's good stuff. It's really fun pretty much all the time, even if I don't get what's going on, because I really don't. The one thing that I will say about this season is that I think it was only 1 episode, but we did spend it on the Doctor Girl's backstory, which actually gave me chills. That was very compelling backstory for her, and it really makes me like, she was one of the characters that I kind of never really understood a whole lot, but wow, her backstory was amazing. Like, just the way they carried it out in terms of the anime, and just how we saw it, and the pacing, and like how it showed that her ability saved lives, but it also basically forced unwilling soldiers into immortality, because she could cure any of their wounds, and soldiers would go out on the battlefield, get mortally wounded, come back to her, and then have to do it all over again. And they couldn't take it, and so they had such mixed feelings about her, and how that evolved. Like, soldiers' perception of her evolved from like being an angel who could save their lives, into being the devil sent, like maybe like the angel from hell, who like forced them into this repeated cycle of getting mortally injured and then having to go do it again. And one of the soldiers, especially the one that was closest to her, eventually committing suicide. Like, wow, that was so compelling. That was so dark and interesting. Like, that was the best part of the season for sure. I just wish they had played a little more into the story, because the only thing I really got out of it was, I know that the guy, I'm assuming is the guy who committed suicide, was the guy who we saw in the very last episode, his brother. I forget the guy's name, but like, he was a big focus of the last episode, because I think he's going to switch sides from like the Port Mafia or the Hunting Dogs or whoever to fight with the detective agency going into season 5 this summer. So it won't be long before we cover the show again. But yeah, it's just fun. I just really like all the characters, and I think this is a random aside, but Asashi and Lucy are very cute. I hope they get married. So yeah, it's just good stuff. I hope going into season 5 a little bit more is resolved, and maybe we don't have like 4 episodes of backstory. But yeah, it's good. I do like Bungo Stray Dogs quite a bit, so hopefully more good stuff is coming up this summer. Yep. And that is all for today. Well, what a bunch of wacky shit happened this season. Oh, and of course we're not covering next season we're not covering Eden Zero, Dr. Stone, or Demon Slayer. So get on the train, boys. Got some good stuff next season. It's gonna be an interesting one. I'll tell you what, it's gonna be an interesting one.